The Silverstone Grand Prix was a good one for Ferrari. Carlos Sainz finished first and Charles Leclerc finished fourth. To top it all off, Red Bull's Max Verstappen finished seventh. But that weekend could have gone even better for the Italian team. Let's explore why. Make sure you stay to the end of the video to find out all about it. Firstly, an image of the Ferrari boss wagging his finger surfaces. After the British Grand Prix, an image surfaced where Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto was seen to be having a stern word with their number one driver Charles Leclerc. In the image, Binotto could be seen wagging his finger at the 24-year-old star driver. It seemed as if Leclerc was being told off by the Ferrari boss. However, Binotto quashed all speculation, stating that he was just telling Leclerc what a fantastic race he had, although the image did not seem like a congratulations conversation taking place. Talking to Sky Sports, the Ferrari boss stated, "I think it was simply to tell him, I understand your disappointment, but you did a fantastic race today. Fighting at the start, fighting later on when he was on the hards and the others were on soft." He also acknowledged that Charles Leclerc drove fantastically on the track. He was impressed by his driving and how he took positions one after the other. Binotto also stated that staying calm and positive is extremely important for Charles Leclerc. He also admitted that Leclerc was disappointed with Ferrari's strategy. So that's that as far as the image is concerned. But if we want to understand what brought this one, we'll have to dig into the Silverstone Grand Prix and how Ferrari's strategy ended up upsetting Charles. However, since then, Charles Leclerc went on to win the Austrian Grand Prix that happened just a week after, which means that Ferrari will now have a more clear strategy going forward this season, but more on that later. So what led to the picture? Although Carlos Sainz won the British Grand Prix, they've come under extreme scrutiny for their team strategy. As the race to the championship intensifies, Ferrari needs to be making better decisions when it comes to prioritizing their drivers. At Silverstone, Carlos Sainz claimed his first ever F1 victory, and it wasn't just a special occasion for him because of that. It was also his 150th F1 race. This made his victory even more special. To even further top it all off, he won this race in the United Kingdom, Lewis Hamilton's home country. Before the 2021 season, Hamilton was the one who always dominated the race. From 2014 to 2020, Lewis Hamilton won all the Silverstone GPs except 2018 and the 70th anniversary race in 2020. Beating out the current champion Verstappen and Hamilton to win was a huge achievement for Sainz. While the result was extremely satisfying for Carlos Sainz, everyone immediately turned to the elephant in the room: how Ferrari botched their strategy for the World Championship contender Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz led the first half of the race, no doubt about that. But when Leclerc was right there on his tail, he radioed into his team asking to overtake his teammate. Leclerc had better pace, so he argued that he should be allowed to overtake his teammate as he was holding him up. But Ferrari denied his request. This call not only had consequences for Leclerc, but also for Ferrari as a team. Firstly, Leclerc is way ahead of Sainz in the Drivers' Championship. What favored Sainz over Leclerc was that it failed to close the gap between Verstappen and Leclerc. Verstappen came seventh. If Charles was able to win the Grand Prix, he would have been much closer to Verstappen and would have had a chance to win the championship. Secondly, it allowed Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton to catch up to Leclerc. It also allowed Red Bull's Sergio Perez to catch up to him. Then Ferrari opted to not pit Leclerc during the safety car period, switching him to soft tires later. All this meant that he missed the podium and settled for fourth. If Ferrari had played their cards right, they could have gotten a 1-2 finish. This would have brought them closer to Red Bull in both championships. The Monegasque driver sounded pretty frustrated on the radio. He also seemed upset when he returned to the garage. As of right now, Charles Leclerc is 38 points behind Verstappen and Sainz is 75 points behind Verstappen. From now onwards, if Ferrari doesn't play their cards right, it could cost them both cups. Lastly, let's discuss what the experts and fans have to say about all of this. According to F1 fans, Binotto appearing to scold Charles wasn't a good look. A Twitter user even tweeted saying that it should have been Leclerc scolding Binotto instead. Another user tweeted that Ferrari has no idea what they've been doing this season. A former F1 driver, Johnny Herbert, believes that Ferrari not helping out Charles has become a clear issue for the team. He claims that their strategy is starkly different from Red Bull's strategy, which has let Max Verstappen pass Sergio Perez several times this season. He also claimed that Red Bull's strategy can be a little risky at times, but acknowledges that they've made brilliant calls enabling Verstappen to stay on top this season. He further stated that this is not new for Ferrari. They've done this in the past. They're doing it again. This is leading to them making a lot of errors this season. Not only him, but also the people he was watching the race next to thought what Ferrari has has been doing is crazy, but some people feel differently. They have argued that Ferrari did the right thing, that robbing Sainz of his maiden victory would have been disastrous. Hazel Southwell, an F1 writer, mentioned in his tweet that he believes Ferrari got it right. He claims that if Ferrari robbed Carlos Sainz of his maiden victory, it would have demoralized him. Doing so would hurt the team in the long run. He ended his tweet with, "Sometimes you have to manage your failed tendencies." Maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. We can't do much other than just speculate. Moving on, a lot has happened since then, especially the Austrian Grand Prix. Earlier in the video, we stated that Ferrari may have a new strategy now. Let's start with that and move on to some more news coming directly from the world of F1. Alright, so Ferrari may just change strategies now. The Austrian Grand Prix was kind of bittersweet for Ferrari. Charles Leclerc won the race. It was the 24-year-old Monegasque's fifth win. Max Verstappen came second to him. However, at the same time, Carlos Sainz's car started smoking up because of an engine issue. He stopped the car at the side of the track and it just went up in flames. He couldn't finish the race. Thankfully, he walked out scot-free. His did not finish DNF was a sad occasion for Ferrari, as he was running fourth and all set to overtake Verstappen. Ferrari may have gotten the 1-2 finish they botched at Silverstone a week earlier. According to Carlos Sainz, there was no indication that the car was going to go all up in flames. Ferrari lost precious points because of this DNF in the Constructors' Cup, but this may have just made their life easier. As we talked about in this video, Ferrari was being scrutinized for their strategy of not favoring Charles Leclerc at Silverstone. But now, with a point difference this big, they have to favor Leclerc over Sainz. At this point, even Sainz would understand how important it is for Leclerc to win more Grand Prix in the future. So going forward, chances are Ferrari will be changing their strategies. Now let's talk about the F1 director who left the FIA because of a human error in a title-deciding race. Former F1 race director Michael Massey has left the FIA, the motorsport's governing body. This move comes 4 months after the FIA found that human error was responsible for botching the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The reason why this human error was so controversial was that that particular race decided the title. The incorrect application of the rules meant that the title was snatched from Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton and given to Red Bull's Max Verstappen. Mercedes and its fans implied foul play. In the FIA statement, it stated that he has decided to leave the FIA to relocate to Australia to be closer to his family. Their statement had no mention of the Abu Dhabi controversy. What happened was that Lewis Hamilton was all set to win a record 8th world title, but then he was overtaken by Red Bull's Max Verstappen when the race restarted. People argue he should have not been allowed to do that. Lastly, Ricciardo to stay at McLaren for 2023. Ricciardo is, or was, a fantastic driver, no doubt about that, but he's facing a difficult season over at McLaren. He's currently 12th in F1 and is also 47 points behind Lando Norris, his teammate. Because of this, there's growing speculation that he will be leaving McLaren before his contract to end, but he has quashed those rumors. Coming onto social media, he has stated that he's committed to McLaren and will not be leaving the sport. We guess we'll just have to wait to find out what ends up happening. Stay tuned for updates. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. Do you folks think it was smart of Ferrari to let Carlos Sainz win the race instead of Charles Leclerc? Let us know all your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. See you guys next time. Bye.